I'm live. It's Tin Man. Hello, my family out there in the Bigfoot world. Thanks for joining in. My name, I called this one for the live part, my expertience. I invented a word. Anyways, I'm just joking around, like playing around with that word, and because I wanted to tell you guys I thought maybe I'd talk about some of my experiences. Hey Douglas, how you doing, Mr. Fairchild? So I just thought I would, what I'm going to do while I'm sitting here is I'm going to see if my laptop hooks up to this Wi-Fi here. And if it does, it might give me some idea to tap into from my channel. One of my things I thought about doing live, hello whoever's out there joining, thanks for joining in. But one of the things I've thought about doing live is an interaction where I got my laptop going. My old Dodge. If you can see that baby. I still own her. She's a beaut. It's got all her original parts and tough truck. But anyways, I was saying to go through, like maybe a video, like I was thinking my first experience, like real experience, face-to-face experience, and that's what it's called. It's called first face-to-face. I never said I just said first face-to-face. And somebody was saying hi, I think, so I'm just going to do that little tapper. Nothing's coming up right now. And I'm going to check on my desktop here, and no, nothing. That's right, I remember when I was here before with this thing. Come on, open. It, for some reason... Where are you? Oh, there we go. It, for some reason, wasn't finding what this phone is able to find. And it has something to do with the info center, and nothing's coming up again. There's one here that has a mark that maybe says... I'm just going to see if I can try connecting into this one, see if it allows me. But that's alright. We can just, we could do one of those things where I can talk about my experiences that have been going on, and maybe my lack of being on YouTube, as some people may be noticing in the way of my uploads and stuff. Oops. So I'm just going to shut this thing down because it does not make sense to have on. And I'm going to talk about, thanks for thumbs up and all. Any kind of support like that is deeply appreciated. Thumbs up, what basically they do is just, it means if you're a person in the system and you watch a lot of videos, and they track you to see if people agree with your opinion, if they like you, don't like you, blah blah blah. So in ways they're able to send the links easier to you based on obviously your likings and not like that. Me, it's not based on necessarily getting all my videos to you. It's more I'm talking about because you do that, other people connect with you, cool, and it can spread out like that and stuff. So even like with Douglas there, if I went on to his channel there and the guy's talking, he's doing his thing and stuff like that, maybe it's not my exact subject that I want to talk about or whatever, but do I have to be ignorant and act like he's being ignorant at that time, or can I just, hey, thumbs up man, keep up the hard work, and then I just jump around and do my thing, right? So, but anyways, so I'm thinking about this light here, and I'm gonna try out a different light. I guess I have to leave it like that, eh? Don't down here. Nothing else that will help. Before I've gone like that a little bit, hung something maybe in front of it, a dampener. But anyway, so lately, out of lately where I've been staying, and I've been staying there a lot now, it's almost like I can maybe keep staying there for maybe a couple of more weeks, and I don't think any other people in the neighborhood mind or whatever. They see my vehicle, the few vehicles that have to drive by there see my vehicle parked there all the time, and nobody's giving me any indication that they're getting upset, so that's pretty cool. Hey CA, how's it going? So that's cool. And so what it's given me is it's given me a good amount of time of number of nights in a row in a very quiet location. No roads, no highways are bothering me, no trains are bothering me. Can I even hear the train in the distance? You know, I'm not even recalling if I focus in and notice a train in the distance at all from that spot. So that's kind of interesting. But it's an awesome spot. And, you know, in all reality, I haven't been acting like I'm socializing with these guys, okay? I haven't been doing that. But that doesn't mean I'm not communicating them in some kind of a manner and stuff, right? So I can't get into all of my trade secrets, but I can, you know, I don't want to, you know, I've said it before, I don't want to say all my stuff based on my success, because it's like almost telling you graduate understanding, and I don't know if you're ready to graduate, right? So let's just go with it like that. So people who can piece things together, they are the people who deserve to graduate, maybe more so out in the bush. But people who are sitting there going all the time, oh, what's he talking about, and stuff like that. It's cool. Keep learning from the computer and such like that. So anyways, so I haven't been bothering them with doing much recording there. The last recording, which I forgot to get going on this, I'll upload it right after this, is let's say a half a mile down the road, and you'll see the video. So it's still in the area, and I talk about the redness again of the tree. So just bear with me on that and try to follow that, and try to really allow your mind to think that I have a tree theory going on how we'll be able to relate with these guys on the work that they do with trees, the gardening that they do with the trees, maybe the pollination to some degrees. For sure it's going to be in there to some degree, that their assistance in that part of the field too. And then the story goes on from there. It's much bigger than just on the flora or the tree end of it or something, right? So anyways, why was I saying that? Oh, that video is kind of talking about hitting base with that, so you can watch that video. So now let's go back up there. Hello, Tiffany, how you doing? And that is, why is my, it's kind of weird, oh, there we go, it came up. Hello, hello. Oh, hey, Karen, how's it going? And that is, cheers, brother. You know, I'm trying to, HDB, I'm trying to remember your name. I think I'm trying to anyways. Right on, Karen. So anyways, don't forget thumbs ups, helpers. So I'm kind of talking about where I'm hanging out in the nights right now. Whoever's just joined in. And I'm kind of talked about that video I'm going to be uploading about just a couple of half a mile down the road, and it's 2 or 3 days old yet, so the weather's a lot nicer. It's raining now, and it's miserable weather out here. If you want a little taste of it there. Anyways, and at that location, I'm not doing stuff for videotaping. I'm not in that thing. Today I didn't do a morning walk or anything. When it's miserable like this, you know, when it's too cold sometimes and it's getting through to my knees or to my joints or something like that, just in a slight way where you notice it's cold. I don't like to go for much walks like that. I'd rather get a good warming in me first before I go for a walk and such like that. So hey, Brown Dirt, how's it going, Dwarf? How's it going, Dirt? How's life going out there? The Gold Walrus, thanks for coming on, guys. I appreciate it. Appreciate all the support. So up in that area, what I've really been doing is I've been really focusing on listening to these guys. Like I said to somebody today, like I'm taking out my earplug right now. Sometimes I will suffer and push extra long on it because it's a test almost every day, you guys. You don't want hearing issues. Hearing issues that you can't really support in any way. They're total drag. But whatever with that. So I do my monkeying around with that. And part of what my monkeying around was, I expressed to a guy, there's this one guy that I get to have a face-to-face with and talk about some of my doings, what I'm up to out in the field, and tell him different things and stuff. And it's really heavy for this guy to listen to. And he does try to listen. He even watches my channel, so he'll know who I'm talking about right now. And I don't know if he fully watches it, but he is, I think in some ways, maybe becoming more hooked into the subject in the way of his mind needs to know in the end if this is going to be true or not, because of his other fields of study. So anyways, what was I saying about that guy? Why did I throw that in there? So I'm up there anyways. Like, I'm just going to go back up to that, up to my camp there. So up at my camp, I do a lot of in-depth listening. And I'm almost, like, you almost can look at it a little bit like this. All of us people who aren't blind almost think we can relate with this a little bit. A blind person who's, whatever degree blind, and they're still trying to see beyond that. That's the same concept, basically, what I'm doing with my ears. So because I'm trying to see beyond, hear beyond, you also get it, and I have that hyperacusis thing, which is a state of feeling, a lot of what the hyperacusis is. So my feeling meter is set different, and it's on hyper state, and it's a drag. But, like in this rain or whatever, it's just a drag, man. It's like you feel the raindrops. And it gets to a point where you're no longer a massage. Anyways, so when I'm, not to jump at you, but when I'm laying in my bed right here, I kid you, I can tell if something is happening on that side of the vehicle as opposed to this side of the vehicle, in the cases where I have felt those vibrations coming to me in the information of somewhat noise and somewhat vibration. I put the mix of what I'm getting there. I'm still in my laying state and sleeping state, so you got to make sure you're fully aware of how much you're awake and such like that. And it's a real thing going on and stuff. So multiple ones, like last night when I was laying there. It's not like I'm bothering counting stuff. You guys know what I'm like. I've seen hundreds of prints, and I do not have one cast print. We got a lot of taping. I got a lot of video footage. I got all the stuff that shows it all or whatever. I got the DNA that's safely tucked away in a deer bone, which had raw blood in it, and I'm sure that they were most likely doing clawing, cleaning, and licking and stuff, and then doing more of that, getting their DNA soaked into that nice blood there, and then they've thrown me the piece or whatever, and I have that carried on now. Hey, SCH, how are you? Oh, right on, you're excited to be here? Cool. Right on, good to hear. And so now I'm up there. I'm telling you, man, so this morning then, when I actually did get up, I'm hanging around for a while. I'm doing whatever kind of wash up. I'm, changing. I got my outdoor shoes that I put away in the trunk and my indoor shoes, that I don't let get soaked, because when I have to get out to use the trough in the middle of the night, that's what you do, man. And I kid you not, man, some of the noises that they make, like I call it the cricket noise, you know, cricket sticks. Really listen to the cricket sticks when I talk about them. When you guys are listening to my video and you're hearing that thing go, I don't know what it is. I don't know how they make the noise, but they're very good at community to community having that noise going on. And in my area, it's becoming a multi-expression. In a lot of areas, there are just different expressions that they use. So, like, these guys are really heavy into all these wacky dog things, and it's kind of, and a cow, and a rooster, and it's just too wacky to, you know, when you're standing there, you can't, you know, you just, if you were standing, anybody, you know, a little kid would be going, it doesn't make sense to me or whatever. But anyways, so let me go, the cricket stick thing. So then, yeah, so imagine standing there and you're taking a whizzer or something, and those few, whatever kind of different noises that I know that these guys are willing to make and such, especially if you get to know them a little bit, they let down their bounds to express themselves in a way as a testing form. So like I tell you guys, I don't tell you all my tracking techniques, and I won't tell you too much of my tracking techniques because I don't want the wrong person trying the wrong thing, because I'm not, like I said to that fellow that I was talking to today, I said to him, I'm still stuck on that story out in Abbotsford, British Columbia, of the pregnant woman that was 5 months pregnant, and she just has disappeared. And he even said, because he's a person who's of that field a bit, and he even goes, yeah, I think she is still missing or whatever. There's nothing been found on her. And then, so that's a big concern for me, a very big concern. I wish so much that I somehow could have walked myself into that bush at that time, because I might have seen an out of character of one of their scuffing marks, because I've cataloged a lot of their scuffing marks. You know, we're able to memorize certain things well and stuff. Well, I have a certain amount of stuff cataloged, so if I seen something out of an ordinary, so in other words, a scuffle, an upsetness in mood, anything like that, their cleanup can be different, especially if you know the culture of the neighborhood. So in other words, you've seen something bizarre, really, you could really go out of your way of videotaping that stuff. What's with all this bizarre stuff? And then you get to know the culture of it around the rest of the area, and then you see this bizarre behavior in other spots or whatever, you might start to realize, okay, that's just the culture of the beast in this area, the being in this area. All the noises that I'm hearing up there and stuff, when I can hear it and it's coming from what I believe is their vocal system, none of it ever makes me think that they can mimic human noises. Human sounds, like maybe saying Ian, like that, and coming out kind of similar or something. Maybe so. But I don't know if they're going to really have the voice box specialty system going on like us. Because even their barking can't be well enough. I almost think human mimickers of barks could probably do better than these guys. Yeah. So you people who hear barks out there, because there's lots of people who are not necessarily complaining, but they talk a lot about barks. And think about it. How many months ago we were talking a lot about coyotes, and the coyote part of it, in my areas, they're still bouncing up here and there or whatever type thing. The fake ones, if you ask me, I can register out some fake ones here and there. But I think they're being washed out by the dog mimicking instead. You know what happened? Maybe there was a couple of guys that went out there with guns or whatever, and they noticed that when they did coyote, they had a different acting out from the public, as opposed to doing a dog. Yippers. You need some rain down there, do you? Yeah, I hear you. So, you know, whether I have had any tapping on my tent, my metal tent, or anything like that from like an actual, like a finger in such a way like that, I haven't detected anything like that. because you got all the rain you're dealing with and different things like this, but then you have side exposure. What can be hitting you side exposure and different things, right? On metal, on the glass, on the different areas of the metal, the different thicknesses and such, right? So when you're laying there in the bed and you're hearing these different things going on, just here and there, or very sporadic, or when it's raining, then you hear a lot of stuff going on, and I would have no idea if they've been trying to test me out then. But they've got so much control on the situation of what I'm doing. I don't ever dive out of bed and go into a visual mode or anything like that. When I get out to use the latrine, I go in a really slow pace in a way. Like I reach forward, unlock my door, kick it open, and I might even choose to lay there for a little while with my feet just at my door there. And I just, it's still warm enough where I'm just in my underwear, and I just stand out there and do what I do. I figure out my spot before I go to bed where I'm feeling most comfortable to do it. Because if I'm staying at the same spot, I can tell that they come around in that spot. Oh, another thing about it is I got my little different goodie bags that I give to the birds. Right, I mean, these are my goodie bags, obviously, and I share them with the birds a little bit, and the chipmunks and stuff. I don't share them with Bigfoot. And, sometimes I have sour... Right now I have these, and I just left some of these because I'm not enjoying them very much. They're kind of a weird thing, but there's some things that are in there that are good. This one's a high on fat, though. Anyways, and it's kind of interesting because lots of times they'll come back, and like last night I came back, I had my flashlight. Even when I come out with my flashlight, I never go right in their eyes. I'm always like this right away. I'm just kind of shining it down at my ground here, and I make my way out. And so anyways, with my the bits of food, I put them in certain locations. Mostly what I do is I just try to find a bigger rock in amongst the small rock, and always try to use that as my location. Last night, once again, there were both kinds were there. The sunflower seeds that I had left the morning before, that morning, and this trail mix one, they were sitting there too. But this morning, they're gone, like the seeds and everything. So, whatever night creature it decides to come and take away that pile, he won't get, he withdraws enough to even take empty shells away. Like every bit is gone. So, and only once in me doing that in this area, is connected to the Kittles clan, okay? This is what I'm calling the, I think I'm going to call it the crazy dog area is what I was thinking about calling it. Because they just do crazy calls up there. But it's still connected with the Kittles clan area. And having said that, down at the Kittle clan is where I was giving sesame seeds. I hadn't given any of the other ones, but sunflower seeds I meant to say. And I might have meant to say that before, because the shells of them, the carcass, right? So anyways, down there I had left sunflower seeds, and I was really liking that, because the couple of spots I left it on a big old log where, some of them would fall down and such into crevices and stuff. It was completely cleaned up the first few times without it, once again, any shells left behind. And then like on third, fourth time, there was shells left behind. And I wouldn't be surprised if I went back there now, because I haven't been there for about a week or something, that those shells might even be all cleaned up. So it's very interesting when you get that kind of stuff, guys, because that's when we have to be going, there's something unreal going on if, they're willing to clean up those kind of shells. Remember, or if you go back to my earliest of videos, and that's when I could tell that they were real clean freaks and real mess freaks on purpose. Both of them are very big in acts. Other than that, they will just flow through. And probably how we think that they're grabbing these branches lots of times. Lots of times when they're going to be doing that, that's when they're going to be just doing a little tweak as they go by and stuff at different times too, that we're going to be figuring out because of them tweaking the trees. So 9 watching out there. So I'm just 8 now. 7? But so I was just thinking that yeah, so I've been trying to figure out what I want to do, what I'm up to out there, what I'm doing. I haven't been doing as much in the video realm of it, right? So when I talked to that buddy guy today, I mentioned to him that I have a new thought going around in my head that, I've kind of gotten all the newest information on these beings up on the internet that nobody talks about. And I've got a lot of data on it, and people are starting to talk maybe a little bit about it, but trust me, nobody's talking to the degree that I am. Other people try to reference people, and I go and look at them and stuff, check out their show a little bit and stuff, and I would have a tough time convincing them to listen to me. Let's put it that way. That's why I keep saying I know now. I just need to be with the right science-minded person who has that ultimate connection and is a type of a type of mind that would be able to break down my mind as I'm deferring the information over to him, so he would be able to balance it out and make it clear to himself that he wants to look into it more. Anyways, having said that, so I don't know, I guess in a way I've been kind of in a way establishing a relationship with this clan, or the outskirts of a clan. I feel like it's more the outskirts area of a clan. But soon as I go home at night, they're there. When I'm leaving in the day, they're there. Every time I'm around, they're there. It's where I've just recently walked, and I showed you guys some little bit of a wider trail in there and stuff like that. It's all in that area. And yeah, pretty interesting. So what I'm thinking about doing is maybe walking down that trail and then walking into the forest, walking back towards my vehicle. So my vehicle's over here. I have to take the roadway down, and then I take that trail into there. And then I'm thinking maybe follow it up this way, and then I can just decide if I start to feel uncomfortable or whatever, then I can shoot out there. But I want to go in fairly deep, and it'll have to be a kind of a pushy kind of a thing. So it's pretty dense in there, actually. In the little part that when I went off a little bit, I could see some trailage stuff, and that's what's given me the impression, I guess, that it's not a high level area. I've got more scouts who are just watching over me. Anyway, so when I'm there, and on these recent videos, you see this big tree line way back over here, where it's way on the mountainside there, and it's where my car parks here, and I'm kind of doing a couple of talks from there. There's a hydro pole right there, big field, and then those trees way back there. In those trees and back, I feel that that's where quite a few just sit there and are just hanging out, amused by a human or life or whatever. The other day on one of my lives here, I talked about a buddy of mine that lives right up in that area that had an experience when he was like 3 that makes him believe that he believes in Bigfoot, but has a tough time listening to me when it comes to my dog stuff. But you should listen to the story he told me that just recently happened. He's only just moved there. I don't even know if he's been in there for over 6 months. And he walked out to the back of his property. He thought his dog was in there because all of a sudden there was some growling. So, and he's the type of guy that has this barely voice, right? And everything's a swear word, followed, right? So he would have been just yelling at his dog because it's a pup, not wanting her to get hurt. And then all of a sudden he says he turns this way and she comes running up from behind him. So then he's realizing that even the growl that was growling couldn't be in a coyote, is what he claimed to me. But when we parted ways, he was still trying to say it was a coyote. And he did a kind of a smart thing. He went up to his house, grabbed his gun or whatever sort, and came back there and kind of did a bit of a standoff just to let the coyote know that, and I told them, those guys would obviously have a good visual on them. That thing was, whoever he was testing, Buddy out there. So they tested each other out. He went and got his gun, and I said, that's not a bad thing. That's you telling him, this is my territory, fine, that's your bush and stuff. And he says, beyond the thickness of bush there, he says, you step in there, and I'm telling you, he's way out in this tree farm stuff that looks like it's tree farm that might be, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 years old, whatever it is, I don't know. But old. Anyways, you go through the thick of it, which these guys have done their fence and walls and stuff, right? You go through the thick of it, and he says, there's just trails all over the place. We don't have that much deer. We don't have anything that would be leaving trails. We got nothing around here. We do have animals, but nothing that leaves what we have been calling, what do we call them again? What kind of trails are they? They're the game trails. So that's about me, man. I just wanted to check in and let people know that, yeah, you like this stuff, eh? SCH, thank you. The Popo Clan. No, not the Popo Clan. Thanks for that. But this is... Popo Clan's right here in amongst my town. And where I go for... If I stay there, it's too much on the vibrational system. Too close to the trains, the boats, our big Fraser River here. So where I go is about... Probably takes me 15 minutes to get there. So if you wanted to check it out kind of by the Google, just look for the Mission dump. Like, we still have a landfill in the back of Mission there. It's in that back area there. Yeah, it's a very interesting area, and you can just see it's just connected to it all. And we know now, Brown, how well they can get around through the cities and stuff. They're, like I said, when I did Vancouver Hit, man, when I went into the heart of Vancouver, it was tripping me out. It was tripping me out to tell you guys, and I don't know if some of you people have even watched these, but in the heart of our cities, I would go up to a tree and I would be able to tell you the marks. And then you would be able to now reference that. But why I say the city is because it's that bizarre. Are there going to be some trees in our cities that they can't touch? Yeah, I'm going to guess that we have trees inside buildings that they shouldn't be able to touch. Now that's going to be trippy. And you're like, this is super trippy for my mind because you guys are trying to adjust to understand what I'm talking about, trying to get to the simple level of, okay, did it walk up and go like this? Did he mean? And I'm talking bark design. Are they on purpose designing all the barks? I don't know that. I have no clue with that. But that becomes a serious question that we will find out. They are 100% behind the arbutus plant that we now humans have probably been watching for 100 years or something, and amazed that the bark strips off and vanishes and floats away because it's not sitting here on the ground. Except in the cases where they're trying to fool that human, because that human comes out there and looks at that tree all the time and is scuffing around on the ground or whatever. So, but in a case where it's out in the wilderness, all that kind of stuff, they use the bark for something. They like it, they take it away. It's not like it's compiled over there or anything like that. And how do I say this in part is because the first arbutus tree that I went out and inspected it, I did it in snow. And so I was able to a mild snow. So there was snow, there was hard ground, frozen ground, and so on and so forth. So I got to kind of see some dust going on. I got to kind of sample into it or whatever. I don't know if I have that video referred to in my like if you just punched in Tin Man and arbutus tree, if it would come up, but it might. And it had one little score on it that was one of their claw marks that just made me happy for a deep wound. Because there's obviously the superficials that will leave. Go up to your trees and just look at the trees that have all these little, so many trees have those little white nicks in them when they're a young skin, right? And just look at that neck, because I haven't figured out that yet. I haven't figured out if I believe that that's nature. I think that's probably going to be them at the super, super duper young age of the tree. And as the tree is going on, those nicks can increase and continue to grow, and then they come by, because a lot of them are just the roundness of the tree when it's that in particular nick I'm talking about. And then there's these trees that have all the little sap pockets in them where you can go up and you just pop them and they're like a little thing full of sap or whatever. I don't think that's going to be normal, that tree likes to bleed like that all the time. And it's not because of its condition, you know, or whatever, you know. We're going to figure out that these guys stimulate him, they're doing stuff. And so my biggest concern is they're overdoing it in an abundance. They might be messing with the oxygen and carbons and population growth is probably the biggest, because that's what people, you know, you who can admit it and kind of look and believe that you believe some of the things you see, there's a lot showing up in not just my video. Like, there's other people, like that one where the guy was on the bike. Everybody just focuses on the one, and we're all trying to discuss whether we think the one there is a fake Bigfoot or not. And nobody else is taking a computer and going, okay, take his depth of blackness and see those other 12 or 15 things around. See if any of those blackness represent in that close of a blackness. If you really get in that close, you might even be able to start to see strands. And if you can see strands there, maybe you can pick up strands there. And if you're picking up strands there, there's nobody out there doing a practical joke where there's 15 of them. Or more than 3 or 4 or something, especially when 2 are just, it would be almost like they just kind of, you know, they do this kind of stuff, so you can't tell Tin Man's bald, you know. It's life. Okay, Tin Man. Welcome. Yeah, so you mentioned the Popo Clan. They are being one corner of that property, which is really good into our city. It's directly across from Walmart. It is being all torn up right now, and because I guess they're getting ready to do construction in there. But that's a corner of the Popo Clan. The Popo Clan is a inner city clan, or should I kind of say outer city, which will be our inner city. Our city is growing their way beyond. And so it's going to take out a lot of their clan. They're going to have to do a lot of shifting around. And that's where that big marker tree is. You know, that big awesome marker tree? I think people that tree might start getting world recognition. It is such a monument. That tree, and it's kind of in a cool spot because it's a tree that will not be taken down for a long time. We might be able to continue watching that tree for a long time. And it's a big tree now. I'm going to try go and get the other angle on that tree. Or not try, but I'm going to remember to do that. So what do we got going on here in the chat land? Bigfoot Forest, hey, from Vancouver Island. Cool. How are ya? Beautiful BC, man. You got to love it. Right on, Bigfoot Forest. Glad to see a Vancouver right here. SCH, are we allowed to ask a question concerning structures? You go for it, SCH. You can do whatever you want. I kind of am one of these guys when I'm on a roll. I try not to look at you because, you know, my mind, excuse me, but it shoots off too much. Yo, bro. Hey, brothers. Florida Boogers, right on. Saskatchewan? Oh no, Sasquatch. Florida. Always loving this rock on the Pacific, yeah? Until the water starts to rise too much. Then think about coming where oh no, you got big mountains there though. Do camp out in the tent. Yeah, do a camp out in the tent. Me? Or you're doing that, Rick? I don't know about me. I should throw on my glasses so I don't have to squint too much. North Central Kansas. That is Cheevers. Cheevers Believer. Is that how you would say it? Bigfoot Forest is run uphill. Yeah, that's what you would do, yeah. Like a tsunami. Hey, Tin Man from Hyuk Bay. Hyuk Bay, where's Hyuk Bay? You probably told me that before, haven't you? So where is S, or SCH? You're going to ask me a question, or you're just teasing me? Do you camp out alone in a tent? The Oregon. Oh, right on. Nice, nice. I haven't been down to Oregon for a while, but way back when I was a little kid, I did the Sea Lion Caves down Oregon Way, wherever that would be. I'm going to bring back a picture in your mind when you see that, eh? Newport, Oregon, cool. Brown dwarfs in North Cali. Nice, nice. So what was the question about structures, do you think S was going to ask me? Are you still out there, S? Whoops. What I should do is get into the habit of putting because I like using my right hand doing this. I should have my phone flipped the other way, but internet. Okay, you go for it and shorten it. Tin Man, have you gotten Bigfoot up in your own neighborhood? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. If you don't know my story yet, which I'm guessing you might not know yet, Bigfoot Forest, but they truly are in charge of our forest to some degree. So they actually want to be able to have the pleasure of touching each one of our trees. And I've gotten so far into it, I'm at the stage of I'm trying to figure out with the compiling of data, if you get into this at all, you'll start to understand it yourself. But that's up to you whether you're going to get into what we're talking about right now at this moment. But just start studying bark designs. Start studying the growth habits of trees, especially through the winter here. Because our trees do not grow in winter. Like our trees aren't like a bear right now trying to suck back as much water as possible to cover them through the winter. So if you see overstretching right now, you'll just be seeing one in particular piece of information. If you see excessive breaking, you see excessive cracking, stuff like that. It's not so much about the structure. The structures are something, but they're just, there's something that we've been looking at for a long time, the structures and talking about. And we've gotten nowheres with them, except for maybe the, kind of the UFO people, lots of times kind of think that they're hot spots for, taking somebody up to a spacecraft or something, if you're into Bigfoot being connected with UFO. And I'm not on that level myself at all, so I haven't seen anything that connects them, so. What is the best way to contact Bigfoot? Rick Kent is saying. Well, personally, I would say probably try not to contact him. I don't know if that's a good idea, so I wouldn't condone that too much myself, even though to say that I've done what I've done, right? But just go out into your forest. Go out to your forest, go out near your forest. Just go out to your parks and stuff, like your edge of the forest I'm referring to, kind of. Like you don't have to be in a regular area where all the people go if you don't want to be there. Go out to the other areas there and just sit there and be as quiet as can be. If you know any of the Bigfoot language, like a few tree knocked overs and stuff like that, and maybe some compilation of a few trees and maybe thick on the sides of the road and stuff. Just be aware of a few signs. Sit back and see if you start attracting any attention. But the best way to do it isn't going to be for you to be looking through their window. Just think about it that you don't trust your neighbor. And you don't want your neighbor to know you don't trust them. So go about it that way. So in other words, you're not going to let your neighbor see you not trusting him by sitting there going like this over his fence, and then as soon as he comes, you dip down or whatever, or in hiding and stuff. when with that kind of a neighbor, if we did happen to let him see us, then we could kind of talk to him in that case or something, to blow so we're not blowing the camouflage. But what do you do if if that thing happens at that in particular time where you're trying to peek in there and he sees you, you don't, then he knows you're a peeker. So there can be successes. It is a very tough thing to break into being successful. Tree straight up with one in ground. This one huge hollowed out up lower and not in ground. So a tree straight up with one end in the ground. This one huge hollowed up lower and not in the ground. So you think it's still growing and such? They'll keep, yeah. For sure, to me, we can't say, I can't say every tree thing out there is going to be necessarily fully connected with them and not the other end of nature. They're a part of nature. We're a part of nature. Our jackrabbits go out there with these great big cutting machines and cut them down, and we got these other great big tractor machines that go and just zip all the trees off and do all that kind of stuff. And we use all these trees for whatever we're going to use them for, and we use them for a mass amount of things. Well, these guys use trees. I believe there's a chance that they may enjoy the pulp. I think Brown Dwarf has noticed that. There's a couple of guys out there that there's something going to be up about why they break them down to a certain pulpiness. Me, myself, I've seen where they get the tree so many lives into the sucker system that might do a flavoring or a changing in that pulped out in the core of trees that have been in a sucker system longer. It's like maybe it's more of their aged preference, if you get what I'm saying there. That might be connected. But anyway, and with the trees thing, so they use it for hides, they use it for walls, they use them for climbing, they use them for escapes, they use them for hiding, they grow them, they plant them, they take them from seed and plant them, they eat their seeds, they share their seeds, they control animals with them, they'll make a beaver happier, they'll help birds. If you go around right now, our blackberry population was so heavy that I was telling you guys about it this late in the season, and the leaves are, we're getting colored leaves changing and stuff, but it's pretty funny that there's so much holding on, but still it's holding on. Go to anywhere around the blackberries, and there's tons of dried berries on there, telling me there's lots of extra seeds that stayed around. And guess what I'm seeing? I'm seeing a lot of birds, a lot of young birds, and they don't come out much. They'll only come out when it's a real brisk warmth, or else they hide out inside the blackberries. Quite thick in there. So, and little birds, how to get them attracted to you is just go into light whistling. Try any light whistling, just do all that kind of stuff. You don't have to do it loud. If they're in there within your area, they're going to hear you and they like it, and they'll come over and they'll visit you. And then if you decide you want to sprinkle them some food or whatever, you could do that. Or if you decide to come out there through the harshness of winter and see if those little fellers got suckered into staying behind for some reason. Because that's what I'm concerned about, is a lot of these birds, some species do stick around. But I've seen I think I've seen some robins out there. Pretty sure I've seen some robins up here, and to me it doesn't make sense. I haven't seen robins this close to winter, I think. But anyways, so a number of species, and because that's what they say, humans don't overfeed the birds during winter. Start to shut it down so they'll still do their cycle of whatever they have to do. If any stick around, then you can feed those ones or something. I don't know. But now think about Bigfoot doing all this surplus of fruit stuff. So now that my mind's going so crazy with this right now, our accumulation of leaves, the places that you go out there and you look and you go, yeah, my leaves are super thick. I see they're really thick leaves. You might not be able to process that last year they weren't as thick, or the year before they weren't as thick, but you can at least process that they're really thick. And when those things are going to come down and hit the ground, and then we have our off-gassing stuff, we have our oxygen creating, and we have our carbons created through the trees. I'm not great on this, but tree death stuff is the one that helps with the carbon dioxide, which is bad for us humans. So, and a tree will give off its carbons. I just learned this yesterday from Lily. It will give off carbons for the rest of its life. It'll put out those carbon gases. When we burn it or it burns, it does its carbons, but it might work through it faster. You know, different processes, it's still going to do its carbon. We put out carbon, I believe also. So what we need is the trees to take in the carbon stuff, and then they put out the oxygen, and that's what we get to enjoy, and everybody, it seems like most everybody else does. Say if these guys are super underground beings, they've been really hiding that well for a super long time, and now we're talking about the carbon levels have changed here. People don't really understand, everybody's arguing the reasons. Say if these guys already got the process far enough ahead where the carbons just did enough of that thing where they can manage to, I don't know, this is the weirdest topic in the world. You gotta trust me on this. But how do we come up with answers sometimes is we gotta go way outside that box. And so now you got all these leaves and stuff that are going to do the death thing again on the ground, but different. What are they releasing? You know, that's survival Lily. If you could always go on her show, and if you decide to sub her, tell her that I sent you. And because I've been bugging her for a long time in a serious manner, and I'm sure she's the type of person that reads a lot of her things, but I think she takes me as some kind of a Bigfoot clown, right? So she's been over here to Vancouver Island before, and I believe she wants to come back again. I think she had such a great time, and I believe that she was having experiences over there that she was just unfamiliar with, and I think why not know the real knowledge and know that that's not moose, or that's not necessarily deer, or that's not necessarily a bear coming around and stuff, right? Like, it doesn't hurt to know who it isn't behind the bush. Like my buddy there, when that thing is growling at him and he knows it doesn't sound like a coyote, but he can't replace it. He can't say, well, it was a black bear then, or a cougar, or anything. He didn't replace it with anything. He just says it can't be a coyote. It was too deep to be a coyote, but for sure something was swearing at him, because he was just, hey, you frickin', like at his dog like this, and probably yelling at the coyote or whatever. His dog is Malamute, and it's not even a year old yet or whatever, and a female, so he was on top of making sure she didn't get hurt. So, and she just comes running up wagging her tail. So Buddy's learning something out there, I think, on his property, and I told him that's good that he showed off his gun. So where are we at? Oh, hey, we got some new people on here. Hello, everybody I'm missing. Arnold, how you doing? Your birds are all gone from the feeder, eh? Whereabouts are you again, Arnold? Yeah, well, gone from the feeder, but watch and see, you know, on the warmer day, they still like to, they go into a huddling kind of thing. I think they just, you know, maybe like for an example, the temperature happens to stay a couple of degrees warmer actually in amongst the blueberries, because that's where I'm seeing a number of different birds hanging out, is in the blueberry patches, or in the blackberry. The wild blackberries, they haven't lost their leaves yet. So, you know, maybe they still have to go somewhere. Bigfoot and the Pac West have access to best cannabis available. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it if maybe they even help grow it sometimes. Mugwump gang time here there. Cheers. Doobies for the boogers. Where is everybody loves the Goldstream. Oh yeah, Goldstream. How far? So that you're on the west coast? Is that Goldstream? That's got to be near Gold River, if I recall correctly. Arkansas. or Arkansas. Or is that Kansas? I don't know. It's almost like you got two names mixed together for me. Sasquatch Island. Hello all. Hey Mary, how's it going? Yeah, no laughing. So cool. Mary, I'm running out of subjects. Not that this is a subject to, yeah, I'm doing it right. You know, not that this is a subject that will ever, you know, lose out on. This is blowing my mind. It's not really blowing my mind. I mean, it's filling my mind with. Today, you know, I don't know. I'm going to be humming on a lot anyways. I might just kind of jump on and do lives instead a little bit and just hold off on my videotaping for now and stuff. So Bigfoot Forest is saying Vancouver Island outside Victoria, okay, is the Goldstream River Bigfoot zone. Big time and salmon, bro. Right on. Well, you know, in that area of Victoria there, you know that you will know the park that just is off of there. I did some videos in there in that park that's on the west coast, more towards the tip. I'm not really exactly sure where it would have been, but I tell you, man, when I was there, that was, you know, probably 10 months ago or something like that. Just in the, you know, that's when I was really getting a lot of information. They go to any parks. They're going to all the parks and stuff, and it's all accumulated into seeing the vastness of the truth. Because I started noticing them mucking around with one or two trees. I started them mucking around in one or two areas. I started noticing them mucking around, chipping at some rocks. I started notice them moving some human stuff around. I started, like when it comes to concrete and such like that, I started, you know, I had one growl at me. I had my 3 visuals, you know, in that first bit of time and stuff. And all that stuff just is compiled over these 13 months, 14 months of, for sure, what the natives in this area say about them being the caretakers of the land. They for sure do something with the land. Yeah, Rick is saying he'd love to see a Bigfoot. Have you seen my video called Face to Face? First Face to Face. That was my first experience seeing them. Strathcona, yeah, you know what? I want to go to Strathcona Park. You know, I'd like to see what's there. I'm almost getting a feeling that could be, that would make sense. If they did this thing where somebody's building an army, you got to keep your army well hidden, right? Because what I've noticed is I've been in this for 13 months, right, guys? And somewhat a year before was a lot of interest and a lot of computer time and stuff like that, right? But when you're in the field, it's much quicker and it's much different of information. But when I was in that 13 months, you know, different thoughts are jumping through in my head. Well, go check out that place now and go check out that place, you know, do a backup checkout, right? But the numbers, I know I have seen numbers changing. And if you go back and you look when I was on kind of the Matsqui side, campground, stuff like that, keywords like that, I was talking a lot about they're doing pre-work here. It's like they're pre-setting up houses. They're pre-sitting in trails. They're camouflaging us to not be able to see and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it was all I guess, because a 10% population increase came in or something. And that's what happened. And so what happens in this next year that I'm studying or whatever, am I actually going to see another 10%? Because at one of these percentages, that's when all of a sudden a vast amount of humans are going to get a lot of information. And these guys are going to be freaks. Why we're not being freaks, because we're standing over here and we're trying to figure stuff out. And yeah, and us people who are willing to step your toe inside the forest a little bit and still come home with a video and saying, yeah, I know they're there and I'm not dead. You know, that's telling us a little bit of information. That guy, if you go to the one that's the verbal confrontation on mine, and you can connect with those ones, I believe there's more than one, and you can connect, and you can realize that I'm really trying to connect and talk to those things, and they're tearing at those bushes, and they're growling and doing whatever they're doing and stuff. Get in there good. And he couldn't have wanted to kill me, or else he would have. So he's tracking me to the extent of, really, what is this guy doing? What the frick is this guy walking around here for, right? And then he decided to get into his growling. And the funniest thing is on that one, you guys, I have no idea, but I'm pretty sure he might have been doing a couple of huffs. Like, "Ugh," and me not responding because my hearing, making all this gravel noise. It's one of my very early videos, and I was making a lot of noise. So you got to put up with that headache. You got to get beyond my noises. Where I'm pointing the camera, you got to look at the far distant lights. You got to decide for yourself: am I hearing any machines working over there, or am I just hearing this hot-looking guy named Tin Man talking on his video? Chapow! 50th anniversary. Wow, brown dirt or dwarf. Congratulations. I didn't know you'd been married that long. Strathcona Park. Lots of big boys there. I'm heading back to Bluff Creek. Nice, on Wednesday. Oh, it's her 50th birthday video. So they're probably going to have a big party there and stuff, or like some kind of a thing get together, I'd imagine. Awesome. Brown man, love it. Lucky you, Brown. I bet Patty is still around. Yeah, eh? So what would you guess? If you could take a look at Patty right now, years, size, all that kind of stuff, what would you say? I'd put her up around 30 years old. That's where I'd go with my noggin. I noticed the same type of strange tree top last week. Sweet, man, and good for you, Florida. And you're going to notice a lot more now. You start to notice one, you're starting to understand that it's just a dialect of... The forest has language, and it has different dialect. It'll have a dialect of storm. It'll have a dialect of a creature bothering it. It'll have a dialect of a badger tearing at it to get underneath or something. Not to say that badgers will not recognize a lot of those from now on, those kind of things, because these beings are mimicking, like in Badgerland. I'd love to go there because Bigfoot will be mimicking them guys, and I'll be able to expand my knowledge. I explain how they mimic beaver language here. So, and I think they even work on fake beaver huts, which they might actually utilize. I'm heading way back. Okay, I'm way back. Here's again. Okay, so Bigfoot Forest is saying tons of cave systems up there, Tin Man. So many, it's crazy. And we are talking about... Are you talking about up in where Patty's from then? I think you're talking about that. Yeah, they're huge cavers. Like I did the number 1 highway, and you'll understand that then. Bigfoot Forest, that up here, the number 1, and then it breaks off and goes down in different areas there. But you know, all that harshness that goes through the canyons there and stuff like that. That is exploding, I think, with a cave system in there. I think they'll be working day and night all the time right now. It's too hard on the mind to understand how many numbers of these things might be out there, actually. Film a lot for you? Oh, you're probably talking about the brown dwarf. Cool. The Ozarks. Arnold got a sub. Until they get hungry, Brown. S is saying he does have great videos. I just came across and joined the other day. Talking about Brown there? Cool, man. I like it you guys are having such a good conversation here too. Yeah, there's something opening up here, isn't there? Or they're everywhere. And they have to, like, I was watching Survival Lily, and the reason why I was just watching, like, I do watch her, I have a sub of her. I don't have a time to watch all of her videos or whatever, but here she was explaining that I think it has to do with she was responding to some subs. So as she's just doing her talking and I'm listening, I'm actually I'm kind of focused in a different spot. Yeah, like I got this all squared off over here. I'm looking at very deep dark black over here, and then I was checking out some on the other side in this corner over here and stuff. Got to take wind into it. Got to take her moving out of there and stuff like that. But I'm telling you, man, we know how well these guys get to hide or can hide. But we are also learning that they're willing to show a certain amount, and whether it's this kind of a size or what. So we got all this brush, and there can all of a sudden be just this one part that just becomes a little more, it's almost like that. So say there's an opening or whatever, and you just get to see blackness change a little bit there or something like that. And you get different ones. You watch how they shape, and yeah, and it's, it's going to be in a lot of the outdoor people's videos without them knowing. Have you seen that new one where the guy's walking along and he's videotaping himself talking like this, and it looks like it very well could be one following him along there, and stuff's going on. Are you saying that to me, yes? Okay. Cool. Oh, you're starting the campfires, the wood stove. You got just an open fire, or you got the wood stove in there, Brown? Lucky stinking bugger. If it's alright for me to call you a stinking bugger. Never know nowadays, man. We gotta get all paranoid with that crap. Cool weather means they will be more activity. Cooler weather, yeah, Mary? I think the activity just is not gonna change. It's just gonna keep multiplying. They don't have birth control. Do you think they can blend light? Or bend light? No. Arnold's asking me that. No, I don't think anything like that really much, Arnold. I think they're just gonna be some kind of a meat being that is really good at hiding. They've really figured out our humans as an average eye kind of sight, as an average kind of a hearing, and all that kind of stuff, and they got a very good knowledge of it. But now that they're growing in such huge numbers, like I've been now involved, and I can't, I'm just kind of guessing, but I think the number is probably up about 8 times now, where 3 of them were really bizarre, and the rest of them were bizarre enough where I think all 8 of those there's a chance that they were a little guy, a little being of some sort. And all I ever keep thinking is, because remember I do all this work at looking at the trees too, you guys aren't seeing as much as me yet because you're not into or not wanting that level, and it's all understandable, right? It's a different thing. Now I'm talking about something else living. We're talking about Bigfoot living, and I'm talking about trees living, right? But I also incorporate the rocks and all that kind of stuff, the earth part of it. But anyway, so these little guys, all these trees that I don't know if you've seen this one video. It was just recent, and I filmed the top of it. I'm going, look at those trees, guys, how they're all orange like that. Is that really them peeling them? And I'm trying to zoom in and stuff. And then I walk over here, and there's one, a lower, but one of those trees. So I zoomed in, and I did the video on there or whatever. And I think I might have put on my micro or macro or whatever, and I'm looking at it. And yeah, it's stripped also, you can see. So they're different spots all the time, so they'll go by and maybe hit an assortment of trees the same way, I would imagine. Okay, tonight, guys, we're just doing this plucking. You know, or this, because they spread moss. They somehow are able to spread the moss, because it doesn't make sense that moss is growing, like, in our mall, on our trees in the mall. They're just one of the driving around kind of malls. It's probably got, I don't know, let's say 5 or 6 different species of trees, and all of the trees are all infected by, I don't know, let's go with at least 3 different mosses. And I'm not talking even stages of mosses. I'm talking about at least 3 different kinds of infected mosses. And it's like open and hot and not wet all the time and stuff like these guys. And now they make the trees overdrink. So what does moss like? It likes moisture. And because the trees overdrink and get quite swelled up and stuff, then that goes into what I'm talking about with the photosynthesis part or whatever, with the sun out here. And now the trees are supposed to be making oxygen at this time. And the moss is growing. So some of the stuff's coming out through the moss. Is that coming out in an oxygen form also? In the 3, the different forms of moss. The leaves, because they're coming into the sucker system. I believe in sucker system, sometimes when I've looked at it, it seems like it could end up being a hardier tree, like I'm just thinking this now, the arbutus. If you go look up at an arbutus, it's got almost like a rubber tree leaf. Was it like that forever? That's the tree that they changed originally. That's the tree that they probably first started, so you nicked that thing now it's going to die. And then they started realizing, hey, the tree didn't die. Cool. And they've advanced on all their tree technology. And now they're in hordes. They realize, hey, the humans aren't going to kill us like back in the natives' days or something like this. Like whenever they went into hiding for whatever reason they went into hiding, supposedly. You guys get what I'm saying? That's just bizarre. That's a lot of friggin' stuff, but that's just bizarre. Whew! Now you take this, you understand, Mary? You take this video, and you guys go share it, okay? I'm going to go for a couple of month break. I wonder if the big guys just walk... And then Karen throws out another question to get me thinking again. Karen! Kidding, I'm having a great time. Tin Man, I wonder if the big guys just walk around at night or during the day. They do both times. Yeah, I wonder that, eh? I wouldn't doubt it if they go out and work on the trees in the day and then have their good times at night. That's what... Because they feel a lot more freedom at night. They can... let them... that one I met out there on the, on the dike there or whatever, was he in his community or was he coming over to see, Big Ralph or something, right? I am really enjoying this. Nice, S. Thank you. I'm so glad I found this site. Right on. Nice to see the man behind the camera, too, and meet the other people here in chat. Well, right on. Soon you'll have to change from just an S. It's helpful when we start to know real people. Not true, Brown. They split. So Bigfoot Forest, okay, was saying a chief told Bigfoot Forest they split from the main culture of the natives of being open in the 1600s. After the Indian Wars, they were disgusted by it. I hear you. I see it here when I walk around the green belt here, Karen's saying. Yeah, for sure. They are the tree things. Like, we're all starting to realize that to say that part about the 1600s and stuff like that, 1600 years ago, and then all the natives kind of do say, from what I'm saying, and I'm not meaning disrespect, but they mostly are saying that there's people of the forest. They're spiritual. I don't know what else they would used to say. I recently came across the brochure from up in my area here, one of the Chehalis Nation. Might be the Chehalis. And that actually, their name is derived from Sasquatch in some respects. They have a brochure that, written on it, they say they have stories dating back a couple of thousand years, or thousands of years, saying that the Sasquatch, the Bigfoot beings, they are the caretaker. I think their words are, they are the caretakers of the forest. And I can see how the natives ended up relating with that, similar to what I'm doing. Because what I see is, I've told you guys from day one in this last 13 months, you can see where I'm talking about them cleaning up things, messing things up, making their own trails, making their habitats, replanting, taking the seeds for planting, many different things like that, and that all comes into caretaking. And then I started to move into seeing where they were chipping away rocks, and they'd be removing certain amount of cliff things. Sometimes when they were doing that, I would look at where they've manipulated a cliff to break a lot away, and I think, are they actually just being nice? So when their kids are climbing on there, a piece won't fall out, or a piece won't fall out on a human and stuff like that. And it's like, no. It's probably a practice. It's probably a natural urge, They don't get to go work in the big fields out there in the mountains or something. So you keep the kids busy, you teach them how we do the chipping. But they take rocks, and they'll put them down in front of them, and it's just like it. And there's no fragments of anything else. It's just the fragments of the rock chipped down into really fine bits. So then sometimes I thought that was a mineral, or there's been a time where I've come across thinking it's a mineral chase too, where there's certain minerals in the rocks that they are searching out, enjoying too. But that wouldn't be all the rock chipping. All of that really has to do, when we were in Brazil, when you look over in Brazil and stuff, and you see that bus on the thing, and the next thing, and you see all those roads there, and you see all those landslides and stuff, and we see all those trees, we see all those monkey-style trees, we see all the trees in African-style looking trees that look like monkey trees and all that kind of stuff. That's what our trees are changing to. That's what I keep talking about. And I bet you guys, if you really start looking at your trees out there or whatever, if you're not seeing the monkey trees already, you'll start relating with realizing that I used to mostly call them African-looking trees, but, maybe it deserves to be called something a little bit different. Hey, 10 Man, thank you for sharing your field work the way you do. Kudos to you. You're very welcome, Quantum. Thanks for the nice compliment there. I muchly appreciate that kind of stuff. Happy Bigfoot and to everybody. They are like medicine people. I don't know, Forrest. I just don't know. Within their own people, like, we have medicine people. Medicine people are healers, right? Some of us might be watching somebody on YouTube. Like, I watched this guy, Scotty Kramer. If you ever want a guy that's down to earth, that's had an unreal journey. When I started this, my 14 months ago or something, that was the first time I was coming into watching Kramer's show, Scotty's show. 2 months later, of watching this guy's show and getting into watching it pretty much every day and just really enjoying it. And it's a big group of young guys. But I just liked in how he appreciated humans and what he was doing for the young community and stuff. And he's a BMX champion and stuff like this, right? 2 months later, he has a severe accident where he, just by a fluke accident, he hits a pothole, caves in his head, breaks his neck and everything. Today I watched him, and like, his first day of there, he's like, they're not sure if he was going to be brain dead. All that kind of stuff. Like, he was just whacked out of it. Anyways, here he was today on his show. I was watching him with his best friend that's been along with the whole ride. He's called Big Boy. And here they were in some kind of a race, big race car today on like the monster, the monster drinks, big racetrack or whatever type thing, burning around or whatever type thing. His story is phenomenal. And, it's stuff like that, real stuff, not stuff there where we even have to decide if we think that's fake news or that's real news or whatever type thing, right? You see something like that, there is only one piece of news that you get out of that, right? And that's real. And that's what helps give me my courage in some respects. And then good comments from good people. So I got a couple of things here I'm going to read out. I love the Cherokee Sasquatch stories. Oh, yeah. My grandmother had awesome stories, nice, passed down. Also, she would leave pennies on the gifting stump when she would get ginger in NC. Cool. That is very cool. And Quantum is saying, and that one was from Bigfoot Forest. Quantum saying, do you feel like you're beginning to gain more of their trust, and are you able to differentiate individual Sasquatches? Nothing like that. Trust? Yeah, for sure there is some trust on their levels because they wouldn't be giving up as much information. I go to a whole bunch of places. I haven't been where I talk about that guy that ended up throwing back and forth across the river, and sometimes he would even be on this side of the river and he's throwing in this way. I can't remember the number. I think I was up to like 12 to 16 times maybe or something like that, where I figure or 8 or something, where he's throwing against my whatever, 20, 30 or whatever type thing like that. It's not a ridiculous amount of numbers because it's not like I'd throw 30 just to try to get him to throw one. I would just do my few, and that all started from the being across the way, throwing first once to me, and then I'm like, wow, like this, right? I think I got that on video. Anyways, and from that point forward on different visits to there, and I haven't even been back to that place. And that one was interacting with me in a friendly manner. Reason why I haven't been there is really the budget, really does come down to budget. I got to be sensible about my budget. Although, if it was, now it's back on the season where I can actually go camp there, because the boat launch, I think, is closed. Cool. So now that you're reminding me, I'm reminding myself with this little chat here, I'm going to make my way back to there. I'm not going to go there tonight. Yeah, I got to think about it, right? Because, I get excited about this. I'm talking to you guys. I get excited. I don't necessarily make the information legible enough. So I got to keep her cool. So maybe I'll just even stay away from that one. They'll know me. I know because all I'll do as soon as I get there, I will do things that will strictly go into the remindance. Oh, that's that guy. With my style of whistling, my, craziness. Like, you might get out one night and just, oh, geez, I hope there's no bears around. So you're going to do whatever you want to make sure there's not bears around, right? I have those formulas too, and that's what helps present my personality to these guys when we're out there in the bush. So I'm sure a lot of you guys get that. You guys and gals. Bigfoot Forest is saying, yes, they would know every plant, every tree, and how it works. Yeah, so on the healing end of, I hear you there. So when you were saying about the medicine doctor or beings, that can make a lot of sense. We might be in for super surprise of really developing an awesome relationship. I really hope so. Bigfoot Forest, I think you're probably in tune with the strong feelings that it should be just 100% okay thing. I would imagine, right? So, I can't say that I'm there yet. I want to get there. Brown Dwarf saying I was in, northern Brazil, but didn't make it to the research area I wanted to go to. Oh, you wanted to go look out there. Too much party on the beach, I hear ya. Bigfoot Forest, Vancouver Island is saying, yeah, Brown, way to rock, man. Brown saying, you're missing it out there. Brazil has some crazy crypt stories. For sure, man. Mexico, Peru. Yeah, that reminds me. I got this old, one of those triangular kind of a seats. It's in the back. Triangular seat, like that, where it's just got 3 sticks that go like that and hold the leather sits in there. And it's made somewhere, obviously, Central America, Mexico, or something like that. Deep Mexico, I'd say. And I've been carrying it around for a few years. And I can't remember, but number of months back there, maybe a year ago or something like that, I just happened to be looking at it, setting it up to sitting in it, and right in the middle of it, I never stopped and looked at it, but it's got a whole carved-in story of it or whatever, where on each pillar and in the middle is a monster's face with a tongue hanging out, like I swear, where I would get the impression that they're trying to say this is some kind of maybe a Bigfooted being. And then it's almost like they're showing all these grandstands and all the certain kinds of people in there, and then the royalty and stuff, and then there's the 3 pyramids off of it and stuff. I'll show you guys one time. It's just really neat because I liked it when I seen it, but I didn't study it, and here it ends up being kind of like almost, I think you know what I'm saying. Tin Man in it's Florida Boogers, Sasquatch encounters. Whose grandma told Cherokee tales too? Okay, Tin Man, it's Florida Booger Sasquatch encounters, okay. Whose grandma told Cherokee stories too. Oh, okay. Yeah, I watch him. Well, I don't know if I've seen him for a while, but we had totally hey, big-headed Martian, how's it going? Greetings. You're excited with me? Well, that's good. Cool stories. Back in the 70s, you seen a juvenile. Big-headed Martian is saying that. Prove Canyon, River, Utah. Chair sounds cool. Chair, was that me who said something about the chair? Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thumbs up, whoever can, whoever hasn't. Appreciate all the sharing and the helping. Every time, just so you know, what a thumbs does is it kind of can link that more people might have an opportunity to see some of my stuff. So I appreciate that. Anybody who has subbed me up, you could always let me know if you want me to sub you. What I keep trying to do is I'm trying to catch up on and just do that courtesy thing straight back where I have everybody on my sub list. But I just don't have my sub list exposed. I ended up making all those things kind of unannounced to everybody. But I still do try to sub everybody up, People are in it for that. But thank you very much. Now I'm going to just chill and stuff. What time do we have? I think it's still fairly early, isn't it? 8:15, 8 p.m. here. Thanks, Bigfoot Forest, for coming in. I really appreciate it. Quantum Sasquatch, right on for joining in. I like that. 10 here, right on. I will be safe. I'm being really safe right now. Everybody who's playing around here, I swear, like I describe when I'm in bed or whatever here, because I sleep here, right? And I open that door, my mind does think. Just like when you were a little kid and you had the blankets all covering you, right? And you wonder if is a crocodile or an animal or something's going to come up and pull you off of the bed, right? So when I open the door and my feet are laying there, man, you just think about that. Yeah, right? You just mean, oh boy, could you imagine that start of a ride where all of a sudden you just feel yourself just going like real fast? Oh, I hope not. Good night, all.